Haman ושוכבת אל רצונך ושוכבת אל רצונך ירוץ בך moyal Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's wonderful to be here with you as always for this Shabbat, of course, whether you're joining us in person or, as I like to say, through the magic of the internet. It's great to gather in community. And this Shabbat is a little bit of a special Shabbat. Every Shabbat is special, but this Shabbat does have actually its own name. It's known as Shabbat Shirah, the Sabbath of Song. And in particular, this is the Shabbat where we read in the Torah the Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea. That moment when the Israelites crossed through the sea into freedom and couldn't help but rejoice in gratitude for God. And so as we go through our service, I hope that you'll embrace this mindset and allow the songs, the music that we have that is always so wonderful here at UH really uplift us and carry us this evening. We'll talk a little bit more about this week's Torah portion and what we read in a moment, but right now it's time to begin our Shabbat by lighting our Sabbath candles, which can be found on page 120. Well, our candles can be found up here, but the blessings and everything is on page 120. Sorry, I said it in it, like I couldn't help but fix the grammar. Exactly. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who kindle light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. And we join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, who sanctifies us with mitzvot and commands us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Amen. If all of you can please stand, or if you cannot, you can raise yourselves to a higher plane of holiness. If you're following in your books, these prayers can be found on page 123. And the Kiddushat Hayom, as it is referred to, the sanctification of the day, is symbolized by the wine, our symbol of joy, but also, as I like to say, it is the ink on which we inscribe ourselves on that blank page, another page in our book of life. And there are 365 pages yet that we want to fill in this particular year. And we always hope that this next page starts out with the sanctification of God's name and also with an aspiration that this next week will be filled with good, but also with life. Because as we like to say, life is good, of course. And we sing together now the Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hakafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodesho, be'ahavav ratzon, hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit. Ki hu yom techiro, v'groi kodesh, zecher letziot b'Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'choto ve'otanu kirashta mikol ha'amim v'shavat kodshecha be'ava u'v'ratzon Hinechaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. And we say together, L'chaim, to life, Shabbat Shalom, and please be seated.
Shabbat Shalom. And happy Passover. Okay, it's not actually Passover, at least not yet. We still have a couple of months at least until we celebrate that holiday, that festival of matzah, of unleavened bread. So don't worry quite yet. But here, in the course of the annual cycle of Torah reading, we are in the middle of that story, the story of Passover and the Exodus from Egypt. Indeed, the first half of the book of Exodus, Shemot in Hebrew, from the enslavement of the Israelites and the birth of Moses to the moment of revelation standing as one at Sinai, is not only among the most well-known stories from our Torah, it is perhaps the most foundational for our identity as Jews and fundamental for our sense of belonging as part of the Jewish people. This is why the primary commandment for Passover, which we fulfill every year at our Seders, other than eating matzah, of course, is to teach this story to our children, the next generation, and to see ourselves as if we personally came out of Egypt. In this week's Torah portion, Parshat Bishalach, we have just that moment, the climax of the story. God has already sent Moses to Egypt, commanding Pharaoh to let my people go, striking Egypt with the 10 plagues, and concluding with the death of the firstborn. As a result, the Israelites have already observed that first Passover, and a grief-stricken Pharaoh has expelled the Israelites from Egypt. Here in this portion, we open yet again with another dramatic moment. The Israelites encamped before the Sea of Reeds have nowhere to go. The Egyptian army and Pharaoh at its head, having had a change of heart, are barreling down on the people. And in that moment, God says, "Why do you cry out to me? Tell the Israelites to go forward." And this is the story we are given. Moses raises his arm over the sea, staff in hand, and a great wind from the east drives back the sea, drying the ground and splitting the waters. The Israelites pass through the sea on this newly dry land with walls of water on their right and on their left. The Egyptians try to pursue, but as they enter the sea, the wheels of their chariots lock in place, and they are stuck in the midst of the water. With the Israelites now safely across, God once again commands Moses to lift his arm over the sea. The waters then crash down upon the Egyptians, drowning the entire army, chariots, Pharaoh, and all. Upon witnessing this miracle and finally realizing that they are free, Moses, Miriam, and all Israel break into a joyous, grateful song. This is a miraculous moment, and it's storytelling at its finest, evoking memory and emotions, tension and relief, faith, pride, and of course, hope. Especially with the centrality of this story and this moment, one might say nothing more needs to be added. And yet, this passage, a bit over a chapter in length, gives rise to some of the most well-known midrashim in our tradition. So well known that, like the story of Abraham and the idols, or Moses and the burning coal, many often think that they are part of the original itself, even though they're not in the Torah. In this case, the best known is likely the story of Nachshon. And again, here it is. As the Israelites stood before the Sea of Reeds, they cried out to Moses and God, saying, "Why did you take us out of Egypt just to die in the wilderness?" To which God replies, "Why do you cry out to me? Tell the Israelites to go forward." All that is actually in the text, but from here the Midrash picks up. Moses relates this to the Israelites and raises his arms, but nothing happens. No one moves, and the sea does not split, even as the Egyptian army is getting ever closer. Finally, one man, Nachshon, son of Aminadav, the brother-in-law of Aaron, steps forward and begins wading into the water. The water reaches his knees, and nothing happens. But he keeps walking. It reaches his waist, nothing. It reaches his shoulders, and still nothing. Nachshon, basically swimming at this point, takes a deep breath and continues forward, and as the waters cover his head, suddenly the sea splits, allowing the Israelites to pass through on dry land. Again, beautiful storytelling. But why do we need this tale? It's not in the Torah. Why do we need it? Well, Midrash, as both an act and a genre or set of literature, is often presented as an attempt to elucidate or explain the traditional text of the Torah. To explain this, a mentor of mine often describes Midrash as attempting to fill in the white spaces in the Torah. However, this description distorts the purpose and the focus of Midrash. It may add to the text, filling in the white spaces and drawing greater attention to specific aspects of it, but the focus of Midrash is not the Torah itself. Rather, the intention and impact, the focus is on us as reader and listener. Midrash makes use of the core text, that is the Torah, but to expand on lessons and illuminate or comment on our own thoughts and feelings, and at its most expansive, our own lives. Simply put, Midrash is meant to recenter our connection to Judaism and deepen the relevancy of our Jewish identity. I'll say that again. Midrash is meant to recenter our connection to Judaism and deepen the relevancy of our Jewish identity. To use the story of Nachshon as an example, there is nothing in the original text of the Torah that is particularly unclear. And the additional story certainly does not fix or correct any aspect of the text. However, Nachshon reminds us, the story of Nachshon reminds us of our role in the creation of miracles and the partnership we have with the divine in all we do. It reminds us that any change requires someone with faith and courage to take the first steps, and that the impact may not be immediate, even though the challenges are. It reminds us that if we want something to happen, we need to be the ones to get involved, the ones to act. And it reminds us that doing this, particularly within our Jewish community, is a way of embracing our heritage and living our Jewish identity. But there's another midrash from this same story that I want to center and highlight for us today. While the basic text of the story seems to indicate that there was one path through the sea, a massive column through which all of the Israelites marched, Rashi, citing Midrash, suggests that the sea actually split into 12 different paths, one for each of the 12 tribes. This might indicate that there is more than one path to redemption and revelation. Likewise, and the one that I love the most, the Sfat Emet suggests that not 12 paths, but that there were actually 600,000 paths cut through the waters, twisting and turning, intersecting and diverting, both a shared and a unique path for each and every Israelite that left Egypt. I love this imagery. You can almost picture it. If there are 600,000 paths, even more so, it's not just on the land that they walk through, but you can imagine the ups and downs, the twists and curves, the tapestry that it weaves. And tonight, I'll add yet another midrash to that moment of Exodus that transcends both time and space. For rather than focus on the Nachshons, the leaders who went first, I wonder about those who hesitated, those who had doubts, those who struggled to hope and continue forward, those who maybe even stayed behind or quit halfway through, those who came after. What happened to their paths? If we take the Sfat Emet's interpretation of the splitting of the sea, 600,000 paths, one for each Israelite, then I like to imagine that those paths remained open, waiting for those individuals to ultimately find their way. Moreover, and here's my midrash for this evening, I suggest that rather than 600,000 paths, there are millions, myriad of paths, one for each of us, for each and every Jew that has ever lived. For if we are meant, as Passover reminds us, to see ourselves as if we personally came out of Egypt, then there is a path, a personal path, one that not only we get to walk, but that we get to co-create and share, a path that connects us to our heritage, our tradition, our community, our people, past, present, and future, a path that defines and embodies our Jewish identities and our Jewish lives, continuing, contributing, and advancing the Jewish story from one generation to the next, from our generation to our children's. A path that is still waiting for each of us, for all of us. which leaves us this evening, and as we go forward in our lives, with only one question. Do we choose to take it? Shabbat Shalom, everyone. As we welcome in Shabbat this evening, we always join in song. This song is meant to be joyous, it's meant to be meaningful, it's meant to be grateful, it's meant to be so many things that speak to our emotions. And yet, one of the things that music does so well, and is one of the core purposes, is that it's meant to be inviting. It's meant to invite you into this space and this moment. And so, as we turn to page 138 and the Chadodi, as we invite Shabbat into this world, we also invite all of us into this moment of the Sabbath. Page 138.
לקראת כלה בני שבת, נקבלה לך דודי. לקראת כלה בני שבת, נקבלה שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד. המיוחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, תשם ותפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת, נקבלה לך דודי. לקראת כלה בני שבת, נקבלה לקראת שבת. לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. ראש מקדם נחתוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. Please stand. לך דודי. Face the back of the congregation. לקראת כלה בני שבת, נקבלה לך דודי. לקראת כלה בני שבת, נקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת, נקבלה לך דודי. לקראת כלה בני שבת, נקבלה.
We remain standing for our call to worship, the Baruch Hu, on page 146.
Baruch Hu et Adonai, Hamevo.
On page 148, we join together in the Hebrew of Ma'ariv Aravim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim. Bechokma poteach sharim uvitfuna mishanei itim umachalif et hazmanim umsader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or uma'avir yom umevi layla umavdil bein yom uvein layla Adonai tzevaot shemo el chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. And on page 151 in the middle of the page. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Page 152.
Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malechuto Leolam Va'ed.
Please be seated as we turn to page 154 and we chant together the Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lektecha v'derech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam leot v'yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uv'tavtam al mezuzot beitecha uv'isharecha Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'elokechem Ani Adonai Elokechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lehiot lachem le'elohim Ani Adonai Elokechem.
Thank you, Lucy. On page 157, we join together at the top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. And so we turn to page 158 and join in a part of that song that we sang so long ago and that we read this Shabbat for Shabbat Shirah. Moshe Miriam Elianu Ve'ameru Adonai Lo Le'olam Va'ed Adonai Lo Le'olam Va'ed. And here we move from this song of gratitude, this song of freedom, to a prayer asking that God watch over us as we lie down and as we wake up to life renewed. And so on page 160, we join in Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom Ve'hamidenu Shomerenu Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Adonai, Eloheinu L'Shalom. Ve'hamidenu Shomerenu L'Chayim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Adonai, Eloheinu L'Shalom, L'Shalom, Ve'hamidenu Shomerenu, Shomerenu L'Chayim. as we turn to page 162, we celebrate Shabbat with this Shamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. שמרו בני ישראל השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
As Achad Ha'am reminds us on the bottom of page 163, more than the Jewish people has kept Shabbat, Shabbat has kept the Jewish people. And as we turn to page 164, I invite up Nate Daniels to help lead us in our Amidah, our Tefillah, and I invite you to please rise. We'll begin again on page 164 with a meditation.
Adonai, Sifatai Tiftach, Ufiyagi Tehilateha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
Page 166.
Baruch
Atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Haste Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah.
Page 168.
Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav V'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach V'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye hakol berachamim rabbi. Somech noflim v'rofeh cholim. Umatir asurim. Umekayem emunato. Lishenei afar. Michamocha ba'al giverot. Umido melach. Melech memit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua v'neman ata l'hachayot hakol Baruch ata Adonai mechaye hakol.
Page 170.
Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kedoshim b'chol yom yahalelu chasela Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Wonderful. Thank you, Nate. And everyone can please be seated. We love to have that opportunity to invite our young people who come to services to participate. It's exactly, to some extent, what I spoke about this evening, is that it is that opportunity, that choosing to step in, that leads us to generation and creating and continuing the Jewish story. And so, as we sing a prayer of gratitude for our freedom earlier, and as is read this Shabbat with Shabbat Shirah, the Shirat Hayam, the Song of the Sea, so too do we join in a prayer of gratitude, the prayer of Hoda'ah on page 176. We join together in the English. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai our God and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one whose mercies never end, O compassionate one whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, u'lecha na'eh l'hodot. On page 179, at the top of the page, we join together in a prayer of peace for us, our country, and the whole world. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us a will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael, ba shalom. And from this prayer of peace, we turn to a prayer for our nation, a prayer for the state of Israel, the Jewish homeland. Avinu shebashamayim, sur Yisrael v'go'alo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Smichat Gu'ulatenu. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love, spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Grant them deliverance and adorn them in the mantle of victory. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. To which we say, Amen. And as we move beyond 100 days of captivity for those who were taken on October 7th, we continue to light our third candle for those still held hostage, and we continue to read Achenu for our brothers and sisters who are kept from their family. For our siblings, our brothers, our sisters, the entire family of Israel, all who are in the midst of distress or taken into captivity, whether on sea or on land, may the ever-present one have compassion for them and bring them out from suffering to relief, from darkness to light, from oppression to redemption, now, swiftly, and soon. And let us say, Amen. We also think of those perhaps closer to home who could use prayers of strength and prayers of healing. And so this Shabbat, if you're thinking of a loved one who could use such a prayer of healing and health, I invite you to please rise in this moment. And I invite you now to share their name out loud with our community, that our prayers might join together. Please be seated. We join our prayers together as a community, increasing the strength and increasing these calls for health and wholeness. We turn to page 371 and join together in Misha Beirach.
Sheberach avoteinu ekor haberacha leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Yisheberach imotenu mekor haberacha le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We truly wish those in need of healing a refuah shlema, a return to wholeness and health. And so too, in this moment of tefillah, of prayer, we turn our thoughts to the meditations of our heart, and I invite you to please pray silently.
On page 178, we prayed our prayer for peace in the evening. The correlating prayer in the morning for this prayer for peace is found on page 258. Some years ago, David Cohen, our assistant music director and most valued cornerstone of the music of this congregation, our accompanist, composed this arrangement of Sim Shalom, dedication of this congregation, actually. And we have not had an opportunity to offer this at our service since way before our pandemic shutdown. And so the fresh air of renewal is now on us and coming through. We hope that this prayer for peace renews itself, not just inside of all of you, but inside all those in this country, in Israel, and throughout the world. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha, ein v'chesed v'rachamim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, al Yisrael amecha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha, ein v'chesed v'rachamim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, al Yisrael amecha. Barcheinu kulanu kechod, ki v'or panecha natata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Torat chayim ve'avat hesed, u'tzedaka u'veracha verachamim v'chayim v'shalom v'tov b'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol leit uvechol shah bishlomecha. Sim shalom tova uvracha, ein v'chesed v'rachamim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, al Yisrael amecha. Baruch atah Adonai hamevarech et amo Yisrael.
Hi, thanks for coming tonight. I'm Ted Kreiser. I'm the Assistant Treasurer of the Board of Trustees. Welcome. Just some announcements for upcoming events. Torah studies tomorrow at 9 a.m. in the chapel. Then there's a Shabbat morning service in the Millstone Sanctuary. Following that, family movie nights at 6:30 tomorrow night, open to families kids is aged 5 to 18. Some upcoming events on February 3rd, Singing Bowl, meditation, assuming the weather permits. February 4th is a family holiday cooking series. February 14th is Whiskey and Wisdom with the Rabbi, which is always a fun event. And encourage those who like it to attend. I always learn a lot that night. And February 28th is intergenerational game night. For information on additional upcoming classes, please visit the UH website.
And as always, thank you to our tech team for helping all of us join together, again, whether we're here in person or joining through the internet. And I think this Shabbat, especially on this Shabbat Shirah, this Shabbat of song, we need to express our gratitude to David Cohen and, of course, Cantor Eicher for bringing that music and that spirit. It's the power of song and music speaks more deeply to our emotions, to that which is core to being human, all too often more than words can. And so thank you for helping bring Shabbat, bring that feeling of peace, that feeling of gratitude on this Shabbat Shirah. And of course, as I often remind us, as we move to conclude our service with the Aleinu, this is a prayer that is a reminder that what we do here this evening, what we do in the sanctuary, is meant to move beyond these walls, that we're supposed to carry it with us out into the rest of the world, into our actions, our deeds, and share it with those around us. And so we rise and turn to page 586 for Aleinu L'Shabeach.
Aleinu L'Shabeach L'Adon HaKol, L'Teit Gedula L'Yotzer Bereshit, Shelo Asanu Kigoyei Haratzot, Velo Samanu Kemishpechot Adama, Shelo Samech Elkeinu Kahem, Vegor Aleinu Kechol Hamonam, Va'anachnu Koreim, ומשתחווים ומודים בפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 591, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. And we think of those generations that came before as we turn to page 593. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled, it burns, it glows, it is radiant with warmth and beauty, but soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance and our lives are full. But as night follows day, the candle of our life burns down and gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen. Yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. This Shabbat, our heartfelt condolences go out to the family of Emily Lynn Alper, who died just this past week and for whom we're in the period of Shiva. We also hold in our hearts those who have died in the past month as we're in this period of Shloshim, for Ezra Callahan, Terry Callahan, Gerald Kraft, Betty Lehrman, Lisa Luther, Michael Scissors, and Sharon Silverman. To these names, we add those who have died at this time in years past as we remember the yahrzeit of Philip Albert, Anita S. Alexander, Sam A. Aronoff, Kurt Ashner, Armin L. Bain, Samuel Barnholtz, Harry Berger, Abraham Burke, Louis S. Block, Marvin Blum, Fred Bomsey, Rachel F. Brilliant, Samuel J. Bronstein, Rose Florence Copeland, Francis Kramer, Rose Feldman, Irvin Fisher, Dr. Lawrence Friedman, Ellie Glazer, Martha Glazer, Elaine Goldstein, Renee Kligman Goodman, Jane K. Goodman, H. Paul Gorich, Susanna Hammerman, Ordy D. Hoffman, Orrin D. Hoffman, Morris Jaffe, Theodore Jagist, Ethel Jasper, Arthur Weil Johnson, Harry B. Kaplan, Dr. Ronald J. Kaplansky, Dr. Milton Kardesh, Berkeley Kirschman, Jackie Bernard Kleben, Emil Copeland, Grace Kreiser, Joseph Lasky, Frida Levin, Blanche Levy, Mary C. Mamroth, Murray Aaron Marks, Charlotte Mayer, Alex Richard Mendelson, Mary Mendelson, Roy M. Marenbaum, Goldie Golan Millstone, Louis Moss, Essie Newman, Melvin L. Newmark, Marvin E. Nieberg, Ida M. Niss, Ida Polinsky Orenstein, Joseph Orenstein, Rose Oxenhandler, Marion E. Pappy, Ida Frank Pian, Sarah Siegelman Pollock, Ann Poskover, Gary Stewart Poskover, Sarah C. Prelutsky, Herbert Raskus, Minnie Romansky, D. Flotkin Rosenthal, Peggy Grossberg Ross, Sidney Rubin, Pearl Sapin, Rose Bobby Saracen, Harry Scallett, Eva Figler Schnurman, David S. Schwartz, Henry Schwartz, Melvin Scissors, Lazarus Siegel, Betty M. Silverman, Gertrude Gorman Stein, Jules B. Stone, Max Stone, Marshall H. Tamarkin, Lucy T. Vittert, Robert D. Weimer, Louis Wolkowitz, Samuel Zabrak, and I, Richard Zeman. If one of these loved ones is yours, we invite you to rise so that we may recognize the memory of your loved one. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be a blessing. And now we invite everyone to rise and stand with our mourners as we join together as one community, one family of humanity, in the Mourner's Kaddish on page 598. Yit Gadol v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'amad Ivrach Yurteh v'yamlich Malchuteh, B'chayachon uvyomechon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'galav Yizman Kari v'imru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mivarach le'olam olomei Maya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei d'kudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran be'ama v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min Shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'romav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, and to all who mourn, to which we say, Amen. And as we have prayed for a few times this evening, we continue to sing and pray about shalom, peace, and shalem, wholeness. And so we continue this song on Shabbat Shirah.
Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Israel ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Israel ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Israel ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Israel ve'imeru amen.
Shabbat Shalom.